Welcome to the Spectrum Lounge podcast, where we discuss creators of color disrupting the game in TV, film, and pop culture. I am your host, Rebecca Theodore-Vachon, and on this episode, I am joined by actor Parker Sawyers, who co-stars in the feature film Monsoon, as well as the STARZ series P-Valley and the BBC series World on Fire. Welcome, Parker.
Thank you for having me, Rebecca.
You are staying booked and busy. I was like, well, damn.
I know I've been very, very fortunate. That's for sure. Oh
That's
my gosh.
great. Yeah, I just finished binging P Valley a couple of
Hmm.
weeks ago. It's like so scandalous. I love it. It's like the best like soap opera, but like based in a strip club. I was like, yeah, this is
Yeah,
great.
yeah, man. That's what exactly. I mean, it's one of those things where when it first, I don't know. I guess somebody at Stars wanted me to have a read. Interested in me playing Andre.
Yeah.
I mean, from the first episode, you're reading it, I'm just like, yo, this is really, really good, like really cool and interesting,
Mhm.
and it has some flavor to it. And then second episode, I was like, I want to read for this. Oh my god! So yeah, I'm lucky. I'm lucky it came across my desk.
Right, right. I mean, it was, but, and then of course I'm thinking, I was like, what's it like working with all of these beautiful women on set? I mean, they're just, there's
Yeah.
Alarica Johnson who plays like your love interest, and I was shocked to find out she was British because I was like,
Oh
really?
yeah. Yeah. Elarica, she'll kill me if I
Uh,
don't. If I don't.
oh,
Elarica.
Alarica. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Elarica. I guess it means in Portuguese like she's rich. Elarica or something like that. But yeah.
Oh.
I don't know. It was like I'm a huge money where my mouth is type of person. Like I'm not very good on social media as far as like I'll post like Instagram like every 4 months, literally. Like I'm not very good on it,
Yeah.
but it is kind of like, yo, okay, hold on. Written, created by a woman, show
Mm-hmm.
run, probably by a woman, and it was. I don't know if at that time I knew it was going to be all women directors. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but that, and then the fact that like, I'm not the lead. It's led by women. I was like, let's go. Like,
Mm-hmm.
let's do it. I literally put my career in the hands of women, and obviously, it turned out to be a very good choice. But they're just all mad talented. I mean, just little nuances and so forth. I'm watching.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yo, Brandy, like Elarica, Shannon. Stupid. It was
Yes.
really, really good.
I
Really proud
sent
of it.
someone because Shannon Thornton was on Twitter yesterday, and she did a video just basically telling people to come out to vote. She called Trump an orange Cheeto,
Oh
which
yeah.
I love. But I sent the video to my guy friends, and they were like, "Who is that? She's gorgeous." And I was like, "She's on this show P Valley." And they were like, "I don't even have like subscription to Stars, but I'm going to subscribe just so I can
Oh
watch her." I was like,
word.
"Yeah." I was like, "Yeah, she plays a pole dancer on the show." And they were like, "Sold."
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of my favorite scenes is her and Miss Mississippi and Lil Murda when she's teaching him how to be comfortable on stage and he strips
Yes.
down and he rap. I love that scene. I don't know what it is. The way she's like looking at him, and man, she's super strong. I love it, man. And it's one of those
Yeah.
things too, when you watch it and you're like, wait a minute, why weren't
Mhm.
you the lead of something before? I don't get it. You know what I mean? And so I don't know. I'm in awe of Katori getting it done, getting it on air, and shining light on these beautiful actors. It's great.
Yeah. I mean, I was saying, I was like, if it wasn't for the pandemic, I'm pretty sure that P Valley would have, at least with that show, there would have been a spike of women signing up for like pole dancing classes because I want to sign up for a pole dancing class after watching this show. But, you
Not
know,
even. I tried,
yeah. You
and
try?
I try. Me and Dan, the guy that plays Corbin,
Yeah, yeah.
like we climbed to the top or whatever, and he's swinging around. I'm swinging around, and then I just wasn't paying attention, and I slammed my crotch into the pole.
Oh, oh my
Hey, it hurt. I mean, I played it off. I was like, no, I'm okay. I'm okay. Okay.
God.
Okay. Yo, it was hard. It is like it's amazing. It really is. And actually, some of
Uh-huh.
the background and the other dancers are actual dancers and so strong
Mm.
and just awesome. I don't know. I love things like that when you can, get a peer into a world that you wouldn't normally. I
Right.
love it.
Yeah. So you guys have been renewed for season 2. Is there any word as to when you guys will when the cast will be back on set to start shooting? Are you
Yeah, we
back for
start
season 2?
tomorrow. We start.
Oh, you start tomorrow.
I'm just
Oh,
joking. I'm sorry.
okay. I was like, what?
Um. No, I don't know. Next year sometime. I imagine. I don't know. I imagine with the nature of the show, and because you need an audience for the club. Like I don't know COVID restrictions. I don't even know how that works. As far
Mm.
as the main cast, we did film on Tyler Perry at the Tyler Perry Studios.
Oh,
So
I didn't know that.
yeah, so there's an
Wow.
ability because it's an old army base or something like that.
Mhm.
You can. I think he did this with his shows during during lockdown. Really, you
Yeah.
can live on set or live on campus, whatever, on the lot. You can live there. There's plenty of houses. So I think that might be a plan, but that's for the main cast. I don't know about, you know, the
Yeah.
patrons to the club. So I have no idea. I'm hoping next
Yeah.
year, like April or something.
Yeah, I read that because I mean, I know Tyler Perry's on the cover of Variety this week, and yeah, one of the big things was that he shot all of his shows. I think what does he have? He has the Oval, Bruh, Sisters,
Sisters, yeah.
and
Haven't have
there's
nots is
another show,
over, I think.
Ruthless. Yeah,
Ruthless.
Ruthless. So he shot all 4 of his shows, all second seasons in like 2 or 3 weeks or something like that. It was just like,
Oh yeah.
what?
Tyler was telling me because Tyler was on the guy that plays Diamond. He was on Haven't Have Nots with Tika
Mhm.
actually, and
Oh, yes.
I guess they film. I don't know something like 2 episodes a day or something. He said it just moves so fast, and I was like, "Word!" So he gets it
Mhm.
done. I don't know.
But
Um,
like when you guys were shooting P Valley, how long would it take to shoot one episode?
so that's about 2 weeks. It's about 14. Nah, yeah, about 11 to 14 days. I think the pilot, or rather the first episode, took a little while just to get the to set the tone and whatnot, and then about 2 weeks. Yeah, about 2 weeks per episode
Great. Well, I'm
in the
glad you
heat.
guys will be back for the second season. I'm excited. It'll be
Yeah, I mean, man,
yeah.
shout out to Tori getting the music and everything. I mean, my sister lives down in Nashville and she used to live in Memphis and she was just like, oh my God, they're playing this. And I was like, I don't know that song, but apparently it's just very
Mhm.
real to the area and that's so dope. It's so good.
It is. It is. It is. So let's talk about Monsoon.
Sure.
Is written and directed by Hong Kao. Can you tell us a little bit about what Monsoon is about and the role that you play in the
Sure.
movie?
Monsoon is a film that takes place in Ho Chi Minh City or Saigon in Vietnam. And I play a character, Lewis, who he lives there. He's transplanted. He's there for a couple of years, and he meets Kit, who has been. I want to say he moved away from Vietnam when he was 6, and moved to England, and now his parents have passed, and so he's back to sort of scatter the ashes, and they meet up via an app, and they sort of connect over trauma and displacement. Lewis is a little um, further along than Kit as far as figuring out who he is and his place in the world. Um, so yeah, it's not necessarily a romantic movie, but there's elements there. It's just more about connecting with each other and reconnecting with the past and sort of reconciling whatever ails you in the sort of familial trauma, if that makes any
Hmm.
sense.
Right.
And that goes with all the characters. I mean, Kit does. He talks to his cousin, and he's. I don't know. It's just that feeling lost and looking for a home, I guess.
Mhm. Mhm. I was telling someone when I watched the movie, I think one of the things that I found fascinating about Lewis and Kit's relationship is number one, besides being a queer relationship, but the fact that it's an interracial relationship, but it's an Asian person and a black Asian man and a black man, which is I think I've just saw that in Hellstrom. It's this Hulu original series, and they have a queer couple where I think he's Filipino, and his partner is a cop. he's a black man and is a cop, and I was like, oh, this is the second time I've seen this. There might be other shows or movies, but I haven't seen it. But I think what I love about it is the fact that this is with Kit and Lewis's relationship. It doesn't really fall within the trope of like I'm outed or I'm closeted, like I'm trying to find who I
Hmm.
am. The problems, or at least the conflict in Lewis and Kit's relationship, one, don't really have so much to do with race as nationalism, right? Because we find out
Yes.
that Lewis's father, I believe, fought in the Vietnam War, so that
Yeah.
kind of complicates things. And then also the fact that Lewis is there to find cheaper labor
Oh
because
yeah.
he's running a design. He's basically like a designer, or has like a design line, and he's there just kind of scoping out factories or whatever. So, like, were there any conversations that you had with the director about that, about your character, and just because I read somewhere too that your character was supposed to be white
Yeah.
originally? Yeah.
I didn't
So
know that. I didn't know that
yeah.
until after, or like during. While we were filming, I guess the
Mhm.
head. I think she's the head of BBC Film. She came to visit set, and we went out to dinner, and that's what she told me. She was like, "Oh yeah, originally." I was like, "Oh really?" um, but yeah, Hong and I we discussed that. Hong, he's a gay man, and he was adamant. He was just like, "Look, I don't want it to be about being gay." He's actually, I think, Cambodian, then lived in Vietnam, and then came to England. So it's sort of loosely about um, he's put his own life story into the film,
Mhm.
and that's huge to him. Like, who am I? How do I fit into England? Where am I from? But when I go back, if I don't speak the language fluently, what does that mean? And so we wanted to really highlight those elements of, I guess, his humanity and the character's humanity. Um,
Mhm.
and then, yeah, being a black man and our trials and tribulations, but then you are a black American man. So when you travel and you take out your passport, you speak and you say you're not from Canada, people go, oh, America. So whoever the president is or whatever wars were fought internationally, it's you bear some responsibility, whether you want to or not. Um, so yeah, it's really interesting to play in that area.
Mhm. Because I've been noticing. I was thinking I might need to write about this. I mean, I don't know. I'm not really a political person, but I am finding it interesting that there's shows or movies coming from Black creatives that are basically tackling this idea of like with the Five Blood Spike Lee's movie, and also in
Hmm.
Lovecraft Country. Lovecraft Country has the main character Atticus Freeman is a former Korean army vet, right? And
Oh,
then
right.
the Five Bloods deals with the Vietnam Wars. These group of black soldiers that go back to Vietnam to kind of find a treasure or something. But it's sort of like this idea of dealing with being a black soldier, right? Like you're already an oppressed minority, but then you're going overseas and enacting violence on other people of color.
Yeah. Well,
Which
I
I
know
would,
that.
yeah.
Well, my father, he passed in '06, and he was born in 1943, and he signed up for the Navy. Grew up with I don't know when his stepfather came into the picture, but grew up with a single mom, and so his way out was the Navy. He went over, did his job, he traveled. He never ever ever talked about anything. He's one of those. Um,
Mm,
and so I have pictures of him in Vietnam. I have pictures of him in his naval uniform on, ships and so forth, but I don't know the full story. But then he came back, got his bachelor's. He got two masters in 5 years. Very smart guy. And so that
mm,
was his. It's interesting, right? Like to sign up and say, yeah, I know you don't like me. You're probably going to have me be a cook, and you're not going to respect what I can do on the
yeah.
battlefield.
Mm,
But you know what? I'll take advantage. If I survive this, I will take my GI Bill and I will go to school. It's interesting that not cognitive dissonance, but that
hmm.
hustle, I suppose, in a way. Um,
Yeah.
it's interesting, man. Oh, Lovecraft! I haven't seen Lovecraft. Jonathan
Yeah.
Majors, is that Atticus?
Yes, he plays Atticus. He plays,
I
so
don't
it's
understand. I watched him in Last Black Man in San Francisco. I was like, this dude is talented. I was, what is? It seemed
He
like he came out of
is.
nowhere. I was just like, what? I love
And
it.
yeah, and so he does a really good job on the show. And then I just read that he's been cast in he's joining the Marvel family. He's going to be, I think he's supposed to be the villain in Ant-Man 3.
A
Ant-Man and
word.
the Wasp. Yeah, so
Oh, that's
they
good.
scooped him up
He's
real
like,
quick.
yeah, he's like Last Black. I don't know if you've seen it, but the Last
Mhm.
Black Man in San Francisco. I saw that when I was in Atlanta doing P Valley. It's just one of those things where I was like, yo, that's why. I mean, I can't wait to see what he does next. One of those actors, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's why it's so important, like, as far as like, Black actors kind of like climbing that ladder in Hollywood. Like, this is where indie film, like Black indie film, is so important, because people would be surprised. Like, a lot of our A-list Black actors, they all come from indie, from some
Hmm.
sort of, and working with Black creatives or whatever. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Well, I mean, your first starring role was in Southside With You. Like, you
yeah.
played Obama.
Yeah, that was a. But see, that's. It's so funny you say that. I
Mhm.
was. I didn't start acting until I was like 27, 28 years old. I'd never acted before, and then I had been very fortunate to get little, um, sort of small parts here and there, and then I got a manager in LA, and so I was going up for big NBC and whatever dramas and so forth. And I was turning in good tapes, and I knew they were good tapes. I was like, that's good, right? I'm pretty sure. And then one after another was like, no, no, no. And I get emails forwarded from my manager, from the casting director, or whoever, saying like, oh, Parker's really got something, but we're going with a name or whatever. And I told my wife, I was like, I need an independent film where I can shine. That's what I need. That's the way to do it. And then sure enough, 4 or 5 months later, Southside came in. And I was like, well, this is it. I think this is it. This is it, you know. Um, so yeah, those independent films to get the chance. Yeah, it's imperative.
Yeah. Well, did you see, so after doing Southside With You, did you see your, like, the opportunities started coming in? Like, did you see a shift in the opportunities coming in?
Yeah, for sure. Um, Kind of working steady. I guess that year I did a pilot, the lead and a pilot for NBC, but we didn't get picked up. We went up against This Is Us. And so I was like, well, yeah,
Oh
of course.
gosh. Of
Like, well, of
course.
course. Like, what? Anyway, so then, and then I got signed on to do Succession for HBO. I did the
Mhm.
pilot. I was signed on to be one of the main cast, but then it gets picked up. So that was like November 2016. And then it
Mhm.
gets picked up in February 2017. And I'm waiting around. I'm like, oh my God, this is so exciting. I've done it. I have done it. I'm on an
Mhm.
HBO show, you know? I remember being a kid watching, that little like static HBO, I was like, that's going to be me. And then I find out they're like, um, we changed the plot. You're not in it. I was like, what? So I had waited all
Oh,
2017.
damn.
Yeah, it was wild, but it was such a good. It was a good lesson. It was just like, all right, um,
Which is, I love Succession. I mean, I admit I love it. I call it messy white drama. That's
sure.
that's what I love. I was like, good. Let white people have a change of being dysfunctional. I don't mind.
Well, this is
But
what
wait,
my mother. Oh yeah, sorry.
no, I was gonna ask, like, which character were you, did you play on Succession, or, because I'm
So
trying
in
to
the
remember if I remember
pilot,
you.
it's only in the pilot, and I say to
Oh.
him like, "Do you want to call your dad?" And then I was supposed to. I won't give away the plot details of what I was supposed to be, but
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, it was just a after Southside came out, it was a hell of a year. I got to do Sundance, and then months later, I'm on Skype with Jesse Armstrong and Adam McKay, and they're like, "We love your work. We saw South." I was like, "You do?" You know what I mean? Like, what? And then it was a hell of a year, man. We were filming, and that's when we went to Adam McKay's house for the election night. Like election, that was 2016, and so that
Mm.
was weird. Just like, wait, what just happened? Um, and so yeah, I was supposed to be a major character, if you will. Um,
Oh.
but it's I love it because if things go too what did Dame Dash? I heard Dame Dash say this. He says a lot of stuff, but I heard him say, when you're going after your goals, if you're on the way to somewhere you want to be and things go exactly the way you wanted them, don't trust it. And I heard
Wow.
that and I've retraced back on the things that have happened. And I'm like, oh my, Southside With You. My first tape, Rich hated. Like, this was 2015. It was 2014
Uh-huh.
before Christmas, turned in a tape, did not like it. Funding fell through or something like that. So it just went away. Anyway, they came back like in April of 2015. Yeah. And they had been testing. They had tested people. I guess they had tried to get some big names in. Tika was reading with people and it just wasn't going well. And Rich was just like, I don't know. This guy's good, but I'm not sure. And shout out to Twinkie Bird. She told Rich, she goes, look, put it on mute. I know you don't like him. Just watch his mannerisms. I think he's got something. It's this no-name guy from London. He's not British. Let's check it out. And so Rich was like, all right, fine. And he's like, all right, let me talk to him. So then we had a 20-minute conversation about how he wanted me to play him. And he was like, listen, next time you do your tape, don't try to be Obama. Just be yourself. And
Mm.
I go, oh, okay. He goes, yeah, don't try to do the voice or anything. I go, okay. I went home. I told my wife, I was like, let's do this tape. He told me not to do Obama, but that's stupid. I'm going to still do 60% on Obama. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm not going to go full me. That's crazy. Anyway, so then I did that tape and then that's how it happened. And I was like, whew. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's funny.
but I think that was one of the things that I loved about your performance in Southside With You is that it was what I call baby Obama, right? Where it's like
Exactly.
there was enough of it where you could kind of see like the genesis of the Obama we would get today. But that's true to form, right? Like you didn't want to do like an imitation, but more
Exactly.
like just
And I
kind of
love
like the
thinking,
Mhm.
I love thinking those things, right? Like, I love building the character that way where it's just like, we know that Barack Obama loves basketball and had dreams of joining the NBA and whatever. And so I'm like, yo, maybe that's where he gets his walk. And my father had a similar walk. Denzel has a similar walk to Obama. And I'm
Yes.
like, why do they have that walk? What is that? Jordan has that walk. And so then I did think, I was like, well, hold on. He's below 30. Ooh, I bet Michelle would be like, why don't you speak a little lower instead of this? You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
go down here when you're talking down here. And maybe she kind of, you know what I mean? I was like, after they're together, she helps him. Like, why don't you dress a little better? And you need a new car. These things to help
Yes.
shape him. So yeah, he was definitely baby Obama. He wasn't born like that.
Do people still come up to you and ask you to do like Obama impressions or?
Sometimes, yeah, and I don't mind it. It's just that sometimes I lose. I'll do it, and they're like, "Oh," and I go, "That's not it, is it?" Yeah, I forget. I don't know. I forget. Man, I did that. I did. I guess people don't know either. I auditioned for SNL, in 2016.
Wow.
I did an interview for New York Times. Is this 2016? Yeah, it is. I did an interview for New York Times, and Jacob Bernstein was the journalist. And we go to lunch, and he's watching me, and he was like, I've seen the movie. You're not that much like Obama. He goes, in the movie you are, but not in real life. And I go, yeah, honey, I'm an actor. I mean, that's what I do. Whatever. So anyway, so I was like, I started doing different voices. I was like, oh yeah, well, like I do this and I do like, Kermit the Frog here, like whenever I want, Miss Piggy, or whatever. I
Oh
just
my
started like,
god.
and then I was like, right, so Will Smith, so me and Jada, the way, whatever. I was like doing whatever, and he was like, huh, and he goes, and my dumbass, I'm aloof. He was like, we have a video component to these articles. This is how he speaks, like really calm. He's like, we have a video component to these articles, and do you mind if I record you? I go, yeah, that's fine. So we do this. We go on for another hour and a half, and we're in the streets of New York. I'm doing all these impressions or whatever. And so we get back to the hotel, and he was like, Parker, these are very good. You have a very good comic timing, comedic timing. Would you ever think of doing SNL, Saturday Night Live? I go, I know what it is. Yeah, I guess. Sure. I didn't know what he meant. And so
Yeah.
he sent those videos to Lorne Michaels. And then like
Holy shit.
a month later, my agents, my agents in LA, they were sort of incredulous, I think. They didn't know me very well. And they
Uh,
were like, we've heard from SNL, Lorne Michaels wants to see a tape uh, to become a cast member. And I was like, oh, that's so dope. All right. So
yeah.
I do that. I do the tape. And then like a couple months later, they're like, yo, come into 30 Rock and audition live. I was like, what?
What?
So I
Whoa.
went in, and it was when we were promoting Southside. So it was a super busy day. It was Good Morning America in the morning, podcast or something like that. And then the audition. And then I had to rush to go do Stephen Colbert. It was like a super full day. I didn't get it, obviously. But anyway, so then people, I guess somebody, a publicist or something, probably told somebody or whatever. So people start asking me to do impressions. I guess on the spot. I don't do them very well. I was doing Morgan Freeman. It sounded nothing like him. I was like, well, in my tape, it got me like the final audition. I don't know. And so now I'm like, I kind of stay, I'm like, I need to brush up on him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so
But
when
you're good
people ask
with
me,
the you're good with the impressions though.
well, that's because I'm practicing now. But like at the time, someone was like, do Morgan Freeman. I'm like, oh, Andy. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm like, that's not Morgan Freeman. So yeah, but I mean, that's like my acting class, I guess. Like at home, I'm always doing voices. I mean, people on set, I'll just try to get their mannerisms down. It's just always, I'm fascinated by people in that way.
Yeah. And that's such a necessary component to being a good actor, I think, right? Is like studying the human condition. Like if you're not doing that, I don't know what.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It's that. And it's also just, yeah, mannerisms and why someone would speak the way they do.
yeah.
My father, he spoke very well. He kind of, um, he was a teacher essentially, but he made himself. He was very well read and he spoke very well. But then he would say certain words, and we grew up in the suburbs, and he would say certain words like ten and hill. So instead of ten and hill, and it always hit my ear very strangely. I was like, why would he
Mm,
say ten? That's not the word. And then we'd go back to visit my granny, and she still lived in the hood, and we'd run into his friends, like the people he grew up with. And
mhm.
that's one of the voices I did for Jacob. One of the men just talking like this, you know what I'm saying? Hey, Parker, man, you look just like your daddy, man. Your daddy real, that kind of thing. And I was like 14 and it dawned on me. I was like, oh, father, you're from here.
Right.
And so then it gives me an insight into who my father was. You know what I mean? And he
Mhm.
would do the readings at church, and he had this very powerful voice. And I was like, oh, right. You have created yourself, and that's why you were spokesman for the mayor. This is what, or I think it was mayor. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm like, oh, but then I can still hear it in your voice. And what does that mean about you and what you've done in your life and where you're from and where you're going? And so that's what I like about studying people.
Right. Right.
Saying
Like
that,
so with the accent you have for Andre's character in P Valley, where did you get that from?
right. So then, oh man, so we went through, I mean, I kind of, I fought with the dialect coach 'cause I was like, but he moved away, so it wouldn't be that southern. But they really wanted it southern just for, I guess, the motif of the show. Um, but yeah, he was supposed to be from Chucalissa, and then he went down to Morehouse. But then he went to Georgetown Law School, and so I wanted to clean it up and show that he could sort of code switch. And so he speaks a
Mhm.
different way with the Kyle brothers, which is more sort of um, I want to say good old boy kind of just like, but also with a little like, hey, I'm educated, guys, trust me. Um, and then the way he will speak to Autumn, he's trying to put his game on, but at the heart, I felt like he was sort of a nerd. You know what I mean? Not in a bad way, but not in a bad
Yeah,
way. Like
yeah.
he
Yeah.
preferred to study, and he was like, I can do something with this. And given his past, perhaps he wasn't going to play sports or. And so yeah, we kind of built it that way. but I just tried to zero in on people. Oh, what is his name? There's a mayor in Alabama.
Mhm.
Anyway, so I tried to base it on people that I could see and say, well, this guy is from there and has a similar background, and this is how he speaks, you know?
Mhm.
And then very much like my father, sort of certain words to make sure like he couldn't get rid of that. Or when he's back in town, it comes out.
Right, right. So I did want to ask you because I know in P Valley there's a very graphic scene where you're nude. So I just wanted to ask you, like, as far as like, working on P Valley or Monsoon, and I saw you in an episode of Easy. I think I told you that because I started watching Easy last month, and I
Oh
was like, oh
yeah.
my god, there goes Parker Sawyers. And I was like, oh okay, he's been doing some kind of spicy love scenes
You
here.
got
Like,
that right.
how do you prepare for that? Like, what's that like? And are they closed sets? Is there anything like you have a mantra, like you meditate that day, you do push-ups that day? Like, what's your pregame?
Yeah, pregame, very good. I will say this. I don't know. I think something's wrong with me because I don't get nervous for him. I don't think anything of it. I'm just like, yeah, okay. And particularly for P Valley, I wanted to do it. Katori asked when I was in. Luckily, Elarica she's British, and so we and I live in London, and so we were able to do our chemistry test here live. It wasn't like
Oh wow.
Skype or anything. And
Hmm.
so we Skyped in with Karina and Katori, and so afterwards, um, you know, it was all serious, and Katori was like, so Parker, for this show, obviously the women playing strippers, they'll be nude. And
Hmm.
so I'm asking for the person that plays Andre to do full frontal. And I go, yes. Oh my God, let's do it. And she was like, oh, okay. I go, no, 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 let me explain. I have a daughter, I have a son. It's weird. It's strange to watch Airplane or Trading Places, and it's just like boobs for no reason. Like I don't. Hey, I'm not against it, but it's weird, and that men are rarely in American cinema or TV.
Hmm.
Um, it's really changing the past few years, but historically, and so I
Right.
thought it was only fair. I go, yeah, let's do it. Like, all right, let's go. Um, and then for something like Monsoon or even Easy, it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm like, all right. I told I did tell my mother, I was like, I don't know if you want to watch episode 2. She's like, Parker, I
uh,
gave birth to you.
oh
I
boy.
I have seen you nude. And I go, yeah, but not like, you know what?
Not
Go ahead
like
and watch
this.
it. Go ahead and watch it. You want to get smart math? Go ahead and watch it. It's okay. And so, no, I kind of, I don't know. It's the job. It is what it is. It's all right. For me, it is about making sure the other person is comfortable. I mean,
Mhm.
people have different pasts and different traumas and so forth that even if they agree to the film or to the scene, when they
Right.
read it, when they take the job, 4 months goes by and now we're finally filming, you don't know. Like,
Mhm.
you don't know what might come up. And so for me, it's just to make sure everybody's comfortable, no weird, you know what I mean? And everybody's respectful. And I will say this on Monsoon,
Mhm.
I don't know if Hong thought me and Henry might be weird about it or, nervous or something like that. But
Right.
he was like, okay, guys, so he was like, we're just going to do this scene, but we will just do it a couple times. And I go, yeah, okay. Like, we had 3 hours to do it. I was like, it's fine. And Henry was like, yeah, it's fine, whatever. So we start kissing. We do the same. And we're kissing and we're touching and we're doing all these things and whatever. And,
Right.
clothes are coming off. And in my head, I'm like, hey man, it's been a while. Like, it's 4 minutes, five, six. Yo, it must have been 17-minute take. 17 minutes. I was to the point where Henry and I, while we're making our moaning sounds and and all this stuff and whatever, I start to get lightheaded and then whatever. So when he goes cut, Henry and I were like, yo, are you lightheaded? He's like, yeah, me too. I was like, yo, Hong, what's up, man? He was like, "No, we're just gonna do 5 more minutes." We're like, "You can do several takes, 17 minutes, bruh." I'm like,
That's a lot.
It was crazy. I was like, "This is good. I'm running out of ideas. Do I pinch your
Right.
nipple? I don't know what we do. Can you edit this? I'm about to grab them again. Is that okay?" Like, oh my god.
Oh
Yeah,
my
but
goodness.
it's closed sets and it's comfortable.
Yeah.
It is what
Yeah.
it is.
Because one of the things I always like that, because I've seen a couple of interviews with Henry Golding, and it's I hate when the press does this is when they ask. I'm not gonna ask you this, but just this idea of like asking straight actors, "Oh, what was it like doing that gay love scene?" I'm like, they're an actor. It would be the
Oh
same
yeah.
thing. Like if like it's connecting with another human being. It's not like I don't know, they're asking you to eat like worms or anything. Like I'm not really sure like where they go with that. I'm not. Has anyone asked you
Yeah,
that? Or
but
like, yeah.
no, but I mean, it's weird because I mean, I don't know. I I do give credit to my parents. Like, I don't know what they did. Obviously, they worked really hard, and so we just had a normal sort of busy suburban life. But they were just such open people that homosexuality or anything, it wasn't. I got mad at my parents because I hadn't heard like a racist joke until college. Like I hadn't even somebody
Wow.
I didn't get it. They said something about Jews. I didn't even it didn't register. I was like, what do you mean? I'd never heard anything. I was like, why did you shelter me? Anyway, so I've been quite open since I was a kid, just looking at people like, um, I'm not romantically attracted to guys, but I can definitely see an attraction. And I'm like, I get it. Wow, look at this guy. Ryan
Right.
Gosling, since The Notebook. I'm like, wow, he's so dreamy. You know what I mean? And
He
so,
is though.
like, I used to carry, I said this in an interview, and it is very true. I used to have The Notebook in my car like just in case I
Wow.
was at a buddy's house, you know what I mean? You a little high or something. Like, hey, bro, you trying to watch a Notebook? You know what I mean? Like, let me get out to the car. I got it, yo. Like, oh my god. Anyway,
Yeah.
so Henry, he's like what you see in interviews, or maybe how he seems. If he seems like nice and calm, and he truly is like a
Mm,
gorgeous dude, like a person, like just patient and like
yeah.
calm and whatever. Obviously, very good looking and like, so it wasn't hard to kiss him. It was like, no, there's an attraction there. It's not
I
necessarily
mean,
something where
yeah.
it's not necessarily where I would like, I'm just not, I'm not bi or anything, so I wouldn't necessarily. But I'm like, well,
Mhm.
this is not difficult. Look at him, and as a human being, he's picking no joke. He's picking our first day filming
Mhm.
together. He's picking flowers and like, hey, smell this, mate. And I go, what? You know what I mean? And he's got the tone in his voice and whatever. And after one of our scenes, oh yeah, that 17-minute
Mhm.
thing. The next, and then, we go home, whatever. And the next day, I was like, hey, bro, I was buzzing after that. And he was like, oh God, mate, me too. That was amazing. I was like, yeah, it was. So I'll see you. I'll see you on set. And he was like, yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah. It was weird. I was like, yo, what? But he's
It's
awesome. I mean, I don't
I
know,
mean,
man.
it's Henry Golding. I mean, like, who's not gonna try to do a I mean, I'm just like, it's two, like, hot dudes. I mean, like, what's the problem here? I was like, there's
Yeah,
not you know what I mean? There's other things. There's way worse things that people could be asking you to do. It's not even worse. It's just, you're getting paid to
exactly,
do it.
exactly. It was just, it is very much like, it's the character. It's who Lewis is, who Kit is. And
Mhm.
again, like because a lot of it is because um, just with my babies, with my kids, I'm super busy, but I'm just not a big tweeter or anything. So I'm like, hey, this is my not even activism, but this is how I show my support for my fellow brothers and sisters, my gay and lesbian brothers and sisters. I'm like, yo,
Mhm.
if I can play this role and I'm saying I believe and then equality and this and that, and let's talk about something else besides you being gay, but like, what are you doing here in Vietnam? Like, what is it? What? Why? Oh my God, you're chasing at your father's ghost. Whoa! And
Mhm.
then that I can tell that story. And if somebody's a fan of mine from P Valley, I go, hey, guess what else I do? And so
Mhm.
they just know who I am in that sense. I was so So happy to be able to do it.
Right. Well, I know you're also you are also in the BBC drama World on Fire. I've not seen it yet, but now it's on my to-do list to watch it.
Oh yeah,
Are you coming back for season 2 or?
I believe so.
Okay.
It was supposed to start filming,
Mhm.
I think, this year, and then obviously, and then I think it was January now, 2021. And so date wise, I certainly hope so. My boyfriend in that, Brian Smith, Brian Lee Smith. Um, the only thing about kissing him, and I told him this, I was like, I don't like all the muscles, honey. I was like, I don't. He's so strong. I was like, I don't. He's a good kisser, but I was like, I don't like this. Your back, it's just huge. He's
Oh,
like,
no.
whatever.
What do you guys have love scenes in season 1? I haven't
Yeah,
watched it, but
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Okay.
And so, he's doing Matrix 4, and so
He
I don't know.
is? Oh,
Yeah, dude,
wow.
he's also he's just so awesome. He's just like a I don't know. He reminds me of like a Jason Bourne type guy, and he loved being in Prague. We did it in Prague, and because he's based in New York, they kind of they just gave him an apartment to stay in Prague. I live in London, so I was flying back and forth,
Oh,
and so he
my.
had his whole life set up, and he was there for like 3 or 4 months. He loved it. He's a great dude as well.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, I get to play like a French jazz musician.
Ooh.
Yeah, and so
I like that.
that's what I mean. I'm very lucky. I took French when I was younger for 10 years, something like
Mhm.
that, long time. And then my grandfather was a jazz musician, a saxophonist, and so I played saxophone when I was younger. And so this came up, and I was like, I can do all of this. I can do the accent. I can, you know what I mean? And so luckily I booked it. It was great to be
That's
able to play.
amazing. Like, it was just like your life just set you up for that role. That is so
Yeah,
dope.
well, I'll tell you this. I've been lucky that way. Like, I had first moved to Chicago to when I was 24, something like that.
Mhm.
And I left my job. My father had passed in '06, and I moved in '07, just like, oh my God, I'm going to try it, to
Mhm.
try to start acting. And I moved up there, and through a hookup, I had this flat in like right next to Water Tower Place, like right off the Magnificent Mile for $300 a month. I paid
What?
some I paid some Russian woman named Anastasia. She would come by. I was like, "Is this for real?" Yes, it is very real here. And I was like, "Oh my God, great!" So
Yeah.
then, but then up there, I was signed to Chosen Models. I was supposed to start modeling, and I was going, I'm gonna do a soap opera, and then next stop Hollywood. And I got
Right.
my girlfriend pregnant, and I was like, okay, okay.
Surprise!
So then, yeah, and so then, but she was moving to London. I knew that, so I was like, I guess I'm moving to London now. All right. So that was that, and I thought, okay, that's my dreams. I'm not gonna flash forward 8 years later, 7 years later.
Um,
I go to film Southside with You, my first leading role. I go up to my, I go up to my hotel room, and I can see my old apartment building from my hotel room. And I was like, yo, this is wild.
I
And so
love it.
so Monsoon as well. My father um, having been in Vietnam, the very same streets that I'm
Mhm.
walking as an actor, he was there as a soldier years prior. I was like, this is insane. And so, in a weird way, a lot of my roles have been sort of tracing where I've been, or like my life. It's amazing. Really
Yeah.
thankful.
That is great. I love you see, that should be a movie. You should start working
Oh,
on that.
it's yeah, it's wild. Yeah, it's like and then like even in P Valley, I mean, what Andre is trying to do. I had an internship at a bank for 3 years when I was
Mhm.
in uni, um,
Right.
and we sort of did that. I didn't know it was gentrification. I didn't realize it was supposed to be this sort of community redevelopment thing. And now all my houses are like 700,000. I'm just like, ugh. I didn't know.
Yeah, the prices over here are ridiculous. Well, thank you so much, Parker, for taking the time to speak with us. Thank you
Thank
so
you for having
much.
me on. I mean, any time. I remember, I mean, you organized a live tweet. I was on Twitter then, very active.
Yes,
A live tweet for
yes.
Southside, which was great. It seems
Mhm.
like it's so weird. It seems like, well, it doesn't seem like it
Uh-huh.
was a lighter time. You know what I mean? Like just
It was.
a nice time. God, did we miss that? But thank you for
Uh,
having me
Absolutely, absolutely. So from what I understand, I know Monsoon will be released in America. I believe we have a release date of November 13, 2020. So I think they're releasing it in theaters, and also I believe it should be streaming. It'll be VOD, video
on.
on demand.
Go stream it. Everybody stay inside. Just
Yes, wear your
I did
mask and
a
wash your hands.
I did an interview and like it was on UK TV over here, and then the host asked me, she was like, "So where can we see it?" And I was like, "You can see it online." And then I got a letter or I got a note from my agent afterwards. She's like, "Hey, make sure you tell people it's in theaters." I was like, "I ain't telling people to what." Like, no,
I don't want
it's
that on my
okay.
conscience.
Just go see it in your pajamas on your sofa. It's all good.
Right.
Whatever.
Well, I mean, I've screened it. I got the online screener, but I will say that I will venture out. Like, I'm gonna find a theater that's like super super empty because I do actually want to watch it on the big screen because the cinematography is beautiful in Monsoon. That was one of the things that I said in my little mini review. I was just like, the
Um,
cinematography is so gorgeous. Like, it just like the city just felt so tactile. You know, it was
yes.
gorgeous. Yeah, with
They
the
did
colors.
capture, and that's. I mean, one of the reasons I took it is like I couldn't. I personally, okay, I'm sure there might be, but I couldn't recall a film where I was like a black dude, an American, like in Vietnam. That must I don't even know what that looks like. I
Hmm.
can't wait to just as in like just living. I'm not talking about a soldier or anything. Like just there. I was like,
Right.
yo. Sure enough, while we're filming, when we have the club scene, the background, we've got a DJ, and he's a black dude, and he just seems American. So I go up to him like, "Are you American?" He's like, "Yeah." I go, "What are you doing here?" He goes, "Oh, I've been here a couple of years. I run a t-shirt business." I was like, "Dude, I'm
Stop it.
playing. That's what I'm doing here." And he's like, "Okay," and I, "Okay." Bye.
Life
But it was
is
amazing. So I'm just glad to you know
Yeah.
play
Wow.
the game. It was cool, man.
Life is strange that way. Well,
Yeah.
thank you listeners for listening to another episode of the Spectrum Lounge. See you on the other side.